Recording started.
Hi guys, in today's Escape from Tarkov video, I'm going to be doing a shooter-born heaven tutorial on Shoreline. Now, Shoreline is kind of a tricky map. So, Shoreline in general is more of an objective-based map to where you can get away with PvP or you can completely avoid PvP altogether. Now there are some spots that are pretty well known that a lot of people camp. I'm going to be trying to show you guys some spots that aren't used as much, if not at all, by other people that I've seen or have encountered in these spots. And these spots have worked pretty well for me, and I hope they work well for you. Me personally, I do not camp above tunnels extract. I'm not saying I despise extract campers, but that's not my sort of gameplay, and that spot in general is so scanned over when anyone's coming this way anyways, is that you kind of lose the jump that you have on people. However, one of my spots is pretty far out from my current spawn, so in the meantime I'm going to discuss some of my previous videos. So my previous shooter-born heaven videos, my tutorials, I broke down like the top 3 best sniper rifles, or budget rifles I should say, for sniping. Now these sniper rifles can be used for leveling up your sniper skill and just for a cheap or a budget shooter-born heaven gun. Starting with the cheapest, you have the VPO 215. And I usually use the 366 AP ammo, and with all 3 of these rifles, I use a Valde and a suppressor. That's usually the only attachments I use on these rifles. So across the board, everything should be pretty cheap, depending upon the gun itself and the ammo you use. The second best is the M700, which is almost tied with the Mosin, and whichever one you prefer can take the latter. The reason I say that is because the Mosin, it can be pretty expensive up front unless you find it or have some off of scavs. Well, if you can create it that way, then it's pretty cheap. Here's my first spot. My first spot is, you have gas station down to the left over there. I like to hang out in these bushes, and you can see people running up and down on the beaches right here. You can always kind of sidestep and scan over to the left, or you can just grab another bush. Me personally, I like the cliffs back that way. The cliffs back that way kind of reduce your chance of being spotted, especially being ran up on, but that's just my personal preference. Another quick spot, and with a lot of these maps, you might have noticed through my tutorials that you guys need to kind of understand some rotations, or just if you're trying to chase down these shots rather than just having a chill sniping spot, you need to know what spots to go to and adapt towards. That way you can increase your chances of sniping. This whole spine right here behind gas station and kind of between Hydroelectric and the villas, or yeah, kind of between it, you have this whole spine and all these bushes. It is very good to utilize these bushes as far as if there's conflict on either side of the spine, because very few people will see you up here, especially when you're laid down. If you're laid down, it's very easy to get some people that are overlooking Hydro from here. The only thing you really have to worry about is that there's a scav spawn that spawns right around here, and he'll wander, and he will aggro towards you and or shoot at you once he gets close enough or has a visual on you. There are a couple other spots around this map. I mean, a couple of no-brainers. You have the overlook over Hydro. Personally, I don't like to use that one. Another spot, which is on the other side of the resort and on the other side of bus stop. Before I get there, it's gonna be a minute. I will finish what I was previously talking about. The Mosin and the M700 for second or third, however you prefer. And the reason I put it that way is, like I was previously saying, the Mosin is a cheaper rifle if you have the base rifle already found in raid or so on. The ammo for it is relatively cheap, and it's a really good 1 to 2 tapper if you're using 7N1, 7BT1, or SMB, depending upon what your opponent is wearing, of course. That being said, I personally prefer the M700 over the two. The M700 is overall cheaper, and you don't need to find it in raid to make it the cheapest. But the thing that's expensive about it is if you're using M61, the ammo, especially late raid, can be very pricey. We're talking about $1,000 to $1,200 or rubles around, I should say, rubles. And that can be very pricey depending upon what you're overall trying to do. But M62 and M80 can also be used for that, especially since you're trying to go for those headshots. A spot you guys can utilize, if you can get here discreetly, and I know I mentioned earlier about the tunnels extract, but this spot right here, you can catch people crossing the bridge right here, moving beneath you all the way out to the right, and very seldom do you have people that will run behind you or coming at you to try to flank resort. But this spot overall is a really good spot, especially you'll see people just trying to extract right here, and you get a quick headshot if you can range it correctly. My next spot, unfortunately, is also a very far spot. Always keep in mind when you are running these Shooterborn Heavens that you are going to be in, hopefully, for the long haul of that game. The game can be anywhere for, 5 minutes, you see someone off spawn, you get your headshot, you get out, or the last one you need, or it could be all the way up 30 minutes and you just see someone upon extract. Always keep in mind that you are going to be staying still a good part of the time unless you're chasing the shots, and if you're successful in staying alive, you're going to need a form of energy and or hydration. So I highly suggest putting either of those in like a one spot in your butt, like an emergency water ration, which is fantastic, or you can use a Tashanka for energy. Just figure it out and see what works best for you, especially with which pouch you have, whether if you have the Edge of Darkness or if you just have the standard account that comes with the Alpha container or the Epsilon once you get further along. The next spot, which is in between Hydro and Weather Station. Now, there's a lot of spots throughout this map, especially this map, that are very hit and miss, just because of whoever is in your map and what their objective is. A lot of people will just storm Resort right away and just go up there, get themselves killed by one Giga Chad or Mega Chad, and they'll be on their way. Or you'll have people that are just relatively new to the game trying to knock out their quests. Those relatively new people, unfortunately, can be a very easy prey for these Shooterborn Heavens because they don't know where to look. And you can always use random spots like this, where you can see this whole open field of people going to and from Hydro or going up to Weather Station. This spot in general is not the best spot, but it is another one of those really relaxed spots. If you were to be in this area, however, I personally, especially if you're trying to use Hydro to your advantage, come back here and look for the stash. So there's a stash right underneath this bridge. There's a bush back here. This bush back here is very concealing. It gives you perfect amount of foliage to where you can see people that will be pushing down from Resort, looking into Hydro, people coming from Shoreline, the Pier way, pushing up to Hydro. And you'll have people, I've had people run over me in this spot and not see me, and I just shoot them in the back of the head. Very dirty, and I highly suggest this spot. Definitely in the top 3. My almost getting close to the last couple of spots. One is up by weather station. Now, weather station itself is pretty rough getting up here unless you get up here early game. And if you have a really good spawn for it. If you have a really good spawn and you can get here almost right after spawn, I highly suggest it, and especially if you know the rotations of the map and spawns of the map. If you can get up here, just come and find a random little cut, get people back here, or if you get a good spawn, usually the back of weather station. Yes, people can come up to you through here, but if you can lay down right here, you'll 100% of the time catch whoever spawned back that way running this way, unless their main objective is going to resort. You can either push that far forward, or if you get a spawn that's further back that way, right here. Getting here, you might get seen right off the bat, but I can guarantee as soon as you lay down and no one's glassing these hills or these cliffs, you will have an opportunity to take a shot on someone and try to get one of your shooter borns. A lot of people like to follow that ridgeline, and that's really where I suggest you go or look for. That is my #1 favorite, I'd say. Close contestant with the last spot I'll show you, but before that we have one other spot. This spot is actually in Pier. It's gonna be a second to get back there, and some of you guys might have an idea where I'm headed. This spot is definitely, you're going to need food. You're going to need some sort of hydration to just hang out. This is a spot to where, you know, you talk to chat, or you just hang out, you vibe to some music, and you multitask. Reason for that is once you get back here, you're not really going to want to move. Getting back to this spot is going to be very difficult, especially off early game, which is going to be best utilized early game. Early game as in early start of the map, or heck, even early wipe. A lot of people aren't even going to be looking back here. Most people don't even look back here. So you have to go all the way past this first building, and there's, as some of you may know, there's plenty of spawns in there. There's a couple of safes. You're going to want to run past the boat docks, and you're going to want to go all the way to this lighthouse. This part right here, when you exit the back of that boat docking area, the storage area, is like no man's land. If anyone's over in that way, when you get over this way, if anyone's over there, they will see you. And they can hold you to the spot for a very, very long time. However, if you manage to get back here without being seen, it will exponentially increase your chances of getting your shooterborn heavens. You can try to be up here, and you have so many opportunistic spots to look for. So many. All the way to gas station, even off to the cliff on the clearest of days. You have Pier and all that. But you are very exposed, and if someone's just as good a shot as you are, if not better, and they can range the gun right, they will get an easy headshot onto you, and that's end of day. So personally, unless you hear contact that way, drop down one level below. You limit your field of view, but you also limit the areas in which you can be seen. You can still see very far, and then, you know, if you're getting bored, just kind of lean, look around. And it's always like, if you take a shot, then you have someone to crawl to really fast. And then you can kind of hang out. And this is, like I said, a spot you need to have hydration and or food. So if someone does do that to you, you can eat and outweight them. Because I can guarantee you, the person that sees you in here, misses their shot on you when you're laying down, is not going to have the mindset of waiting you out like that. They're either going to push you, in which you're in that sniper's nest, and you will be able to see them pushing this way, or they'll just give up and go away. That is definitely my second favorite spot. I know previously I mentioned one of my favorite spots were just by Hydro and the resort and that bush right above the stash. But that spot definitely trumps it through further consideration. The last spot is all the way over towards, which I believe is UN roadblock. A little rusty on my Shoreline map knowledge, or the specific callouts for it, I should say. But this is also very close to an immediate spawn in which you can utilize just off the bat of a game. And a lot of these spots can be altered and changed to however you like. That being said, is if you know how people are rotating, if you hear a gunfight and you think they're going to be lingering in the area, or you think they're going to be going towards a certain area, you know, plan for it, right? Set yourself up so you can try to intercept them, get your 100-meter headshot. Or, if you're not just like always hungry for those 100-meter headshots, set yourself up to ambush them. There's nothing bad against ambushing someone, or what people like to say ratting, but ambushing is a more technical term for it, is a very logical tactic. Any militarily force, I should say, are going to try to go for ambushes more than a full head-on attack. It just makes more sense. The next spot, the last spot, all the way back in this corner, like I said, going to Road to Customs. You're going behind Weather Station, past this broken up house. You're going to go towards the drone. You have radio tower up there on your left, rock arch on your left, and your far left, close far left. That makes sense, right? So on the other side of this rock, you'll have, actually the drone should be right there. Right here. This is my number 3 favorite spot. Right off spawn. Reason being, you have this view. Anyone pushing Shoreline within the first 5 minutes of the game, 5-10 minutes of the game, and by anyone, I mean, if there's a spawn over that way and they're going to push Shoreline and a resort, most likely, if they're trying to be safe about it without trying to split the middle, they're going to come back this way, and then you have a shot in the back of their head. Anyone coming from, usually your spawn back here would be kind of around UN roadblockish area, if not a little bit back that way, in between roadblock to, what is it, CCP temporary, that's what it is. But yeah, if you get here, you'll be able to have a very good opportunity to at least take a shot on someone. And even if you miss, this is another one of those spots too where you have plenty of cover to, unless their rendering is off and their bush doesn't load or however, or they have some thermals or they're just some hacker, you should be able to get off 2 to 3 shots before they can kind of locate, unless you're using a tracer round. So like I said before, I highly suggest bringing food and water into these types of raids. And if you're having any other troubles with these types of shooterborne heavens, I have videos on customs and woods and reserve. If you have any comments, questions, or concern, please drop a comment below, like the video. If you have any suggestions on what videos to do next, please let me know. I'm always open for suggestions. If you need help with the game, I am also available to help you out, show you the ropes of things. Thanks again, guys. Remember to like and subscribe to me on Twitch, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.